So for this next segment, the question is, do the Padres need a new closer? Now, I want to start off by saying I think Mark Melancon is a fantastic MLB pitcher. I still want him to be a part of this bullpen. And I think he is a perfect kind of 6th, 7th inning guy. Padres have had their 8th inning setup man in Drew Pomeranz, in my opinion. That's what they signed him to be. That's what he should be moving forward as long as he is healthy. Big question mark there as well. So if Drew's healthy, what do you think about the Padres either moving someone into that closer role or trading for a closer, Isaac?
I think it's going to be pretty detrimental down the line to be able to get someone else into that closer role because Mark Melancon, yes, he's a good pitcher. Don't get me wrong. Like, by no means are we saying like, oh, Mark Melancon's trash, we got to get rid of him, or he's got to be completely out of our bullpen. No, that's not the case at all. He's still going to be a good, 7th or 8th inning guy. That's what I believe, at least. It's just in the in the closer role. We've been seeing him get saved by guys like Manny and Jay Cronenworth going out there providing some really good defense. Other than that, though, he kind of gets rocked a little bit. Saw yesterday against the Nationals, or maybe not yesterday, that the last game against the Nationals, he goes out there and, we lose the game. Actually, I don't know if he was the one that lost the game. I don't remember correctly. Was it the bottom that he was, right? Yeah, because I thought we went into extras, but I don't know why. But I do remember now Mark Melancon did give up the bomb over Trent Grisham's head. And that's kind of been a theme recently, where like he's starting to give a ball, leave the ball hanging, and they're starting like the baseball saying is, you hang it, we bang it. So that's kind of what's been going on with Mark Melancon. And when it comes to, who can fill that role, obviously there's a bunch of trade candidates that we can talk about. When it comes to in-house options, tough to say. Pomeranz, I think, is more suitable as a setup man because, we want him going in there, providing that shutdown inning going into the last inning. So that way the offense can maybe provide a little more run support in the top of the ninth. Now, when it comes to Mark Melancon, though, do we really trust him as a postseason closer? Do we really trust him, last game of the season, up by 1 against, I don't know who we play in the last game of the season, but this is for the chance to win the NL West. Do we want Mark Melancon going out there and providing us that save? I know I don't. I'd rather him go out there in the 7th or 8th and provide us, that solid inning to keep us in the game or to keep us ahead in the game. I think some trade options you can talk about. Richard Rodriguez from the Pirates. He's got pretty good numbers in the past couple of years, and I don't know how he's been affected by the sticky stuff. I think everyone's been affected by it somehow, some way. But I think he'd be a great option. I don't know how expensive he'd be either. Craig Kimbrell is probably going to be the golden boy of the trade deadline. I think everyone is going to be in on Craig Kimbrell unless Max Scherzer somehow becomes available. Do I think we'll be in on Craig Kimbrell? I don't know. It's tough because AJ Preller already has a history with him. So I don't think he'd be a target for the Padres. Who knows, though? I think he'd be a great addition for us, though. We saw last year when we had a Trevor Rosenthal. Oh my God, Rosie was one of my favorite closers for sure that I've seen. I think he was dominant, and I think that's the kind of guy we need coming into that closer role. But other guys, Ian Kennedy, I think Ian Kennedy isn't really an upgrade. I kind of think he's just, we're tired of you, Mark, so we're going to go with someone similar who throws 82% fastballs. 82% fastballs, the league's bound to catch on. And that's kind of what I think happened to Mark Melancon, throughout those first couple saves. He did win reliever of the month, but after that, I think the league kind of figured him out. Doesn't throw very hard, just has good breaking stuff. And when the league figures you out, it's tough to overcome that because, it's not like he throws anything else. It's not like he has anything special about him. So when it comes to that reliever role, that closer role, shall I say, it was up in the air at one point at the beginning of the season. Now it's established to be Mark Melancon, but now it might be up in the air again at the deadline.
And I still think Mark Melancon has provided this team with he's done a great job early on this year. Now, the problem is you look into his last 15 outings, he has a 5.27 ERA and a 1.54 whip. And if you look back into his last 30 games, once again, he has a 1.52 whip. Like, he's still getting guys on all the time. In the last 13.2 innings, which is his last 15 outings, only struck out 10, 15 hits, 6 walks. Like, it's just not, like, he has not been that great lately. last week, 1.67 WHIP, 4.50 ERA. Like the recent numbers are not good. Like they just aren't. His baseball savant page is like, it's all right. Most of the stats, he's like a little bit below average, but then he has some stuff that's way up there, like hard hit balls and stuff like that. Like not terrible or anything like that. This was not what we were expecting from Mark Melancon to come in and be a dominant closer, though. So it's not like it's some like really like, oh no, like we were counting on him to be this dominant closer. Like no, there was a question mark going into the year, like you brought up Isaac. So I don't think it's like the biggest, like, oh no, like the Padres are screwed. They don't have a reliable closer. Like they can definitely go get one at the deadline. You brought up Kimbrel. Rossiel Iglesias is another guy. I also don't love Ian Kennedy. Both of us are big advocates of sending Dinelson Lamet into the pen, having him close out games. That would be a special sight. Save his elbow, let him just go out there and dominate in the ninth inning. I would love to see that. But I don't think Mark Melancon is the answer right now. Do I think, like I said, love to see him in the seventh inning. If it's him, Palm, and then an elite closer or a top end closer, or Dinelson Lamet, I would love to see that. So hopefully that's kind of where they go. I think you're pretty right though, Isaac. Like he's one of those guys just doesn't have super overpowering stuff. And early on this year, it looked like the league was not catching on, which is interesting because he's a lot older. He's a mid-30s guy, been all around the league, even pitched in the division with the Giants a couple years back, and he struggled there. So definitely came out, looked really good. And since the sticky stuff has been banned, it's been kind of falling apart a little bit. Doesn't mean that he's not like a salvageable piece or someone that can be important for this ball club. He definitely can. He can go out there, pitch the 6th, 7th inning. I would love to see that. I think that he can provide a ton for this ball club still. I'm not for trading him away or cutting him or anything like that. Like that's not necessary at all. But I do think that the Padres need a closer, and I fully expect AJ Preller to go after someone. So anything else you want to add, Isaac?
Yeah, you look at his recent career numbers, 2017, not career numbers, but season numbers, 2017, 4.5 ERA, 2018, 3.23, 2019, 3.5, 2019 he ended with 3.86, I believe. Last year, 2.78, this year, 2.25. So, he's pretty inconsistent. Earlier on, he was really good. Last year, he was really good, but he just doesn't have the stuff of a closer, in my opinion. Like we said, great, mid-inning, 6, 7, 8 kind of guy. And we brought up Dinelson Lamet because it was just a report that came out. He's going to be throwing some live BP sessions. He's going to be going out there in some shorter stints. And I don't think there'd be a better way to get him in some shorter stints than to maybe start closing some games or, in the playoffs, if you have him going out there as a closer, you got Yu Darvish going 6 or 7 innings. Then you throw, I don't know, Pierce Johnson maybe, and then you throw Pomeranz to set up, and then you throw Lamet. Sounds like a recipe for success, in my opinion. So, who knows what's going to go on with Dinelson Lamet? They seem intent on having him as a starter, and maybe you go back to the piggyback of when Ryan Weathers is healthy and Dinelson Lamet are both healthy, you can go back to that. I think Matt and I are pretty big advocates of that. I love that idea. But when it comes to that closer role, is Mark Melancon the answer in the postseason? In my opinion, that has to be a no.
Yeah, and that's all right. They didn't really sign him to be that postseason closer. I don't think that was ever the intent with that signing. And like I was saying, I think AJ Preller is going to be an active guy at the deadline. Always is. So I think that you're going to see a move, and maybe it's not like one of these guys that we brought up. Maybe it's a guy that they convert to a closer. Who knows what they do? But I do think that this closer role will be addressed in some way. And maybe that guy's Palm. That's definitely a possibility as well. But I think that this is going to be a move that we should all expect the Padres to make. And I think that's going to do it for today's episode. So thanks everyone for listening, and we'll be back tomorrow.